Let's get into the fall camp discussion. We've rolled out the positional previews for quarterback, running back, receiver, a few more. I want to start with these three groups. And I will say that quarterback, I think, is pretty self-explanatory. What's going to happen there? I mean, I guess you can debate, is Chubba Purdy the number 2 over Heinrich Haarberg right now? And I think they're going to take 4 or 5 guys into camp, where the new walk-on they just added from Iowa Western, he'll probably be on the 110 roster. Wokey will be on there as well. The transfer they brought us.
Yeah. Jack Wokey.
Ole Miss. Came over from Ole Miss. Yeah, you're right. The question is who's number 2. But I mean, right now, aren't you guys Chubba? Probably.
That's my assumption. Yeah. Just based off how insistent the staff was about how he really flipped a switch when he finally got the clear to participate, like that last 2 weeks of spring.
He finished spring strong.
He showed out. And I don't know. I just don't know if Haarberg did enough to really be secure in any stretch, especially with the way Purdy came on.
Yeah. Satterfield told us in Belton, Texas, when we were down there, he was kind of interesting the way he talked about Chubb. He said it doesn't always look pretty, but he's confident that he can move the chains. He's kind of that type of guy. And he said he's also confident that he'll cut down the turnovers. I think his numbers were 3 touchdown passes, 6 picks, or that's what they have been. That's not what you want. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. Come on, let's not sugarcoat it. The concern is how much of a drop off is there from Sims to the backup.
I think that concerns with any team in college football.
No, not any team. I mean, there's
most teams.
Yeah, most.
Most
in
the portal and the NIL era.
Mm-hmm.
It's really hard to have a good number 2 quarterback.
It really is.
I mean, Nebraska thought they had.
Really is.
The Casey Thompson situation. I mean, that if you're being realistic,
right,
that was too good to be true. Like, there is no way you can carry 2 Power 5 quarterbacks with over 20 starts. Even Logan Smothers.
Ole Miss is doing it.
Like, Logan Smothers had options. Like, he went in the portal with limited starts, and he had several options.
There's some schools out there. I mean, I've been having to research some other conferences for my other show. There are teams that do have pretty good, surprisingly good quarterback situations. But Sean, you're right. Sims and Casey would have been like a dream scenario, right?
I mean, even Sims and Smothers.
Yeah,
I think you're feeling pretty good about Smothers. Number 2 right now.
Yeah, you would.
Like, Noah Vedral in a perfect world was like the perfect guy to back up a big name starter. But no, Vedral wanted to be a starter.
Absolutely.
And he went to Rutgers and he started.
Yeah, it's hard to find guys that would say, I'm okay with being number 2. I don't even know if you want that guy that's okay with being number 2.
I'm okay with being the assistant manager. Well, I want guys that want to be the manager.
Yeah, exactly. But so, guys want to go. Now they can more easily go find a place to play. That's what they're doing.
Okay, running back. And I think we're all on the same page here. It's probably a co-1 situation with Anthony Grant and Gabe Irvin Jr. or Sipple. Are you gonna?
Here's the thing, Sean. I don't know. Don't put those words in my mouth. I think I don't know why people are now assuming that Irvin is on the same plane as Anthony Grant, because he's never shown it. I mean, we're just
because of the head coach.
Yeah, we're just relying on Rule. I've seen them both play, and Grant's the better running back until Irvin shows you differently. Right?
Irvin got hurt on the best run he was going to have in his career in the 2021 Oklahoma game.
He was starting to hit his stride before.
It was going to be a 45th. That was a long time ago, though.
His numbers weren't that great. I mean, he was about to go to pay dirt on that one run, but that
he blew his knee out.
Right. Or I like Irvin. I mean, I like him. He's the kind of running back I like. Big, strong guy, good presence back there. But I've never seen him look like Grant looked early last year.
Well, because he just hadn't had the opportunities. They didn't play him last year.
Yeah.
Whereas they played Grant like every down.
He played a little bit last year, and he didn't get it done.
No.
I mean, he didn't. Rob, look at the carries. He didn't get it done. So that's what I'm going by. Grant is the guy until Irvin proves otherwise.
Isn't it fascinating that they were high school teammates in Buford, Georgia?
Yes.
Yeah. That is.
It's I mean, you think about that they're from the same high school team.
That is amazing.
Then Ramir, or as Sipple would say, Ramir Johnson. He's the wild card.
Can't forget it.
I mean, I think you just naturally want to forget about Ramir Johnson, but you can't.
So here's the deal, though. Like, whoever the number one is, I don't know if that necessarily matters all that much, because I think they have the luxury of having a true committee, because each one of those guys does something different. Grant is the one guy that can get you the tough physical yards. Irvin's a big physical back, but he also has,
I think he might be able to
healthy.
run away from people.
He's got that speed. They call him one of the fastest guys on the team.
Yeah.
Then you have Ramir Johnson, who's probably the best pass blocker and best receiver, and
can run away.
And is a versatile guy. So I think that what you saw Grant, when he struggled, was when that workload, when AJ Allen went down, the totality of that workload without having a competent number two started to wear on him and lessened his effectiveness. Well, now you've got three guys that you can comfortably put back there in theory and share that workload to where each one does something different. You can give your offense some versatility, have different packages, and keep everybody fresh. So I think that's a luxury that it's been a while. I think since Nebraska's had that, but that's assuming that Irvin is the player that Matt Rule says he is, and Ramir Johnson actually finds a role to where they can use him.
Yeah, I'm not questioning what Rule's seen in practice. I'm just going
look
by
at pictures of Gabe Irvin right now.
I know. I've seen.
Looks like Derrick Henry.
I know, but I've seen players bulk up in the summer and get a little too excited about it.
Quentin Castile.
Yeah, I mean, well, he was pretty good actually. But now, see, I would say Gabe Irvin's got to prove he's better than Ramir Johnson. I mean, Ramir, the thing I like about Ramir Johnson most is he runs with abandon. I mean, I was struck. Remember when he first played at Maryland? You guys remember that game? It was in a dark stadium. It was during the day, but it seemed like it was at night for some reason. And I thought, okay, they're putting that little guy in there. This is not going to be good. But
he needed surgery too.
He attacked. He attacks the line of scrimmage for that size. He really attacks. I like him. I think they got three good backs, two for sure.
That was 2019,
long time ago. And I remember them putting him in there, and now he got ragdolled a little bit. You have to go back and look at it. I don't expect you to take my word for it. I watched it close because I was fascinated. They ran him inside, and he attacked, but it didn't take. I mean, those big linemen got hammered a little bit.
It's hard to do that over 12 games.
It is. But
all right.
He's a tough dude. He's a tough dude.
Finally,
he's a tough customer now.
Finally, wide receiver, and we did a projected depth chart, but again, we've kind of backed off of doing the projected depth charts because there's so many uncertainties with how guys are grouped and labeled.
Yeah.
And it's confusing, I think, for all involved trying to make sure we do this right, and we want to do it right. And Billy Kemp, I think we all agree, and Marcus Washington, those are your 1-2 receivers right now.
Yep.
I think Xavier Betts and Isaiah Garcia Castaneda, those are the next guys. Then you start to get into conversations about maybe some of the freshman guys. Where do they factor in? Maybe some of the walk-on players behind the scenes. One of the Bullocks or Ty Hahn could factor in there.
Ty Hahn and the Bullocks are definitely prominent.
You got Fleeks in there too. Josh Fleeks.
Yeah, and Fleeks is a wild card because he's an older player. I mean, same age as Garrett McGuire, I think. But you just don't ever hear him talked about at all.
Yeah.
So but I do think Malachi Coleman and Jaden Doss. I mean, there's a lot of talent in that freshman receiver room.
Did you mention Betts?
Yeah. Xavier Betts, like Robert and I think both. I don't know if I said Xavier Betts could have the most receiving touchdowns this year.
Wouldn't surprise me.
I could see that
because Billy Kemp might have the most catches, but he's not going to be. Xavier Betts is going to have the longer touchdown plays because he's the fastest.
Yeah.
Garcia Castaneda is fast though too,
and Marcus Washington.
Yeah, I think I said in the chat that was a question of who was going to lead the team in receiving touchdowns. I think I said Washington just because I think he's going to be on the field a lot, and he kind of brings that element that Kemp might not. I don't know. I didn't really have a real confident answer on that.
So Washington though has never been an outright number one in his career, and what is he, a 6th year? For sure, he's a senior. So I don't know if he's a 5th or a 6th year right now.
Fifth, Sean.
He's a senior though, with COVID involved in that year. So at this stage of life, is he all of a sudden to become a true number one, or is he going to be just a good number 2?
Right. I just kind of regard Kemp as their number one.
Me too. Yeah.
But if you notice, Phil Steele ranked the draft eligible players at each position, and he had Marcus Washington the highest ranked Nebraska receiver. In fact, Kemp wasn't ranked. Washington was 42nd.
Yeah.
So I don't know what that means. Maybe Phil Steele's looking at Kemp's size and
I think
saying,
that's got to be. That's the most obvious.
Yeah.
Kemp initially declared for the draft too at Virginia.
Okay. And maybe he didn't hear what he wanted to hear. Right.
Yeah. Then he went in the portal, and then that's when Nebraska picked him up within a few days.